Hey watchers, welcome back to Perth Watch, your horology channel broadcasting from right here in Perth, Western Australia. Today I have the newest piece from AV-8, so there's a little bit of a 8 in relief there, and it comes in this new box. This is something I haven't seen before. It's a faux fabric, basically it's a cardboard box. Now AV-8, I've done quite a few of their watches, some examples here on the top right. So take a look at the previous reviews if you wish, but this is your latest piece, so let's just get into it. The box is very well balanced. That is 4.5 out of 5 at least. I think very spinnable for sure. This cover just lifts up. There's a little bit of AV-8 in there, so slight increase in detail, and all faux fabric on cardboard underneath. Little space there for a manual, which is just a piece of paper, so I won't really show that, and cushion for the watch. So let's just put that aside, and just gonna undo that so I can show you guys this piece in closer detail here. So this, guys, is the AV-8 Hawker Hurricane Clowes automatic. The serial number in this case is AV-4097-03 for this colorway, which they call the Kenley. I'm not really sure what those names refer to. Presumably it's either pilots or places. Now the MSRP, or the full RRP, is going to be 365 USD for this version. I think there is a bronze version which goes for slightly more, but most of the colorways are 365 USD. I'm not sure whether there's going to be a slight discount on the launch coming up very soon. Overall, they tell me that this is inspired by the Royal Air Force #1 Squadron, and let me just have a look. So that's up right there. So that's the #1 Squadron logo at the back of the watch here, and the particular pilot that Clowes refers to is Arthur Tay Clowes. I don't know much about it, but if you do, let me know what you know, because I'm just a bit ignorant in terms of Royal Air Force history here. So first up, as usual, let's talk about the movement, guys. So in here is something different. I haven't seen this movement before. In fact, I haven't, I guess it's not on display, but it is actually the Seiko NH15A instead of the 35A. Stats down the left of screen there, so it's got less jewels than the 35A. The power reserve, I am assuming, is also 40 hours, but I can't find a lot of information to absolutely confirm that. Let me know if you know for sure. It does have a quick set date, and in this case it's actually in the color matched date wheel at the 6 o'clock position, so good on them for putting that in there, but it's a non-hacking movement. It does have manual winding at the 0 position here. Rated accuracy, again, this is a bit of an assumption and extrapolation. I assume it's the same as the NH35A, but in use this is running at the edge of that. It's running actually quite slow at about -20 seconds per day, at least this version, this specimen that I have in hand. Moving on to the case then. So there's no question this is a big pilot case, right? It is actually a full 46mm, which I believe is the same as many big pilots, including, of course, the iconic IWC. Just to let you know, the bezel, as you can see, is slightly smaller. So the bezel actually is 44mm across. Full thickness is 13.7mm from the bottom of the case to the top of the crystal there. 22mm lug width on this watch, with a 56mm lug distance between my thumbs there. So that's actually very big, one of the biggest watches in steel that I've ever reviewed, I think. Overall weight on the leather strap is just 90 grams, so overall weight actually is pretty light, easy to forget, I think, at that weight on your wrists, apart from the fact that it is rather large. Okay, moving on to the dial now. So hopefully, you can see the relief on the dial there. So this is what is a molded camouflage pattern dial. So there's a camouflage pattern that's taken from the Hawker Hurricane, apparently, that's what they tell me. It's got certain matte intervening with brush surfaces, and I'm really going to hope that some of my macros can capture some of the relief here. It's got three-dimensional large numerals that are actually raised from the dial here, so they really do stick out. That includes the peripheral chapter ring hour indices here, as well as the small numbers on the inner ring. So all that has actually a three-dimensional look to them, effect to them, in this overall, what we would call a Flieger B style dial. Now, the 6 o'clock position doesn't have a model number, but rather actually has this, the aircraft code of that particular heroic pilot at the 6 o'clock position above the date there, JXOB. I think is really how that looks like to me. And then on the bottom of the dial, instead of Swiss made or Japan made or Japan movement, you actually have the motto of the squadron, which is in omnibus princeps. I think in everything first, or first in everything. I think that's kind of roughly translates. The style of the hands are black sword style hands, right? These are just classic aviator sword hands. There's a red seconds hand with pretty interesting hurricane shaped counterbalance there. They say it has Swiss loom, but I'm not sure exactly what Swiss loom it is. And they say that the hands and the numerals are made in Swiss loom, but they actually don't function supremely well. And, I think it barely lasts through the night. I'll put a loom shot here, of course, for you guys to see how it looks in the dark. Right, moving on then. On top of the dial is what is a domed sapphire crystal. So it's pretty nicely done, nothing too special. It's not a box edge, it's a domed sapphire, okay? And there's a slight distortion at the extreme views, which I always appreciate. Moving on to the strap then, this is black leather, right? It's got brushed hardware, right? AV-8 there, accent stitching style, nothing too special, I would say. Okay, so guys, that's the description. Let's pop it on wrist for a wrist shot for you guys now. So there we go, the AV-8 Hawker Hurricane Clowes automatic on my 17cm wrist, and remembering that is a massive 56mm lug-to-lug width. I guess technically it is probably too big for me. It's okay if it's going to be casual, but I certainly will not wear this in formal situations with shirt and tie, for example. Even in casual situations, I think it does look a little bit big for a wrist of my size. If you have a 19cm wrist, like I guess an 8-inch wrist or 7.5-inch wrist, I think that would be okay. You probably can carry it. But I think for a lot of guys, this might be on the big side. Just a reminder, the thickness is 13.7, and that's how it looks like on the leather. Okay, guys, that's the entire description of the watch. Let's talk about what have I found about this, right? What are the strengths? So, I think this is an option for a big pilot style watch. If you're looking for a big pilot style watch, this 46mm size, and certainly a lot of it is very, very similar to the IWC Big Pilot, apart from the fact that it's a Flieger B, not a Flieger A dial. This is an option, right? And it does give you a little something extra. That camouflage relief pattern dial is pretty nice if you can catch it, in the right lighting. It's a little something special, a little extra there. But I think it's mainly for the wearer, because unless somebody is going to really look closely, you're not going to see that pattern. But that's okay. It's something that the wearer can appreciate. And overall, I would say the design is pretty attractive. The classic black dial, black strap aviator watch. This is reasonably attractive. It's just a lot of classic elements there that is not playing too much around with those cues there. What are the weaknesses? You've seen it on my wrist. I think this massive size, it's not going to be for everyone. It does limit its broader appeal and also limits its versatility. I think most people probably wouldn't carry this under more formal situations. I would say the strap is rather average. Okay, this is nothing special, and the movement also I don't know too much about it, but it does feel like a more budget movement than, say, even the Seiko NH35A. The feel of the winding, the feel of the adjusting, the fact that it doesn't have hacking, it does feel like a little bit of a step back. And for those reasons, I suspect this would be very difficult to move at full MSRP. I think something under 300 perhaps would be where it would move a bit quicker. And lastly, to say, this is just a little bit of a subjective minor gripe here. You know, the molded dial is really the special element of this watch. It's three-dimensional, right, including the numerals that come off it. Therefore, I think they've missed an opportunity, you know, with the case back here. They really should have given a deeper relief case back. Yes, it would cost more, but certainly it would play into the special elements of this watch. So there you go, guys. My thoughts on the AV-8 Hawker Hurricane Clowes Automatic. Let's flip it around now for the wrap-up. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that quick fire review. Let me know your thoughts and comments below. Always look forward to the discussion from my viewers. Guys, if you enjoy my videos, do consider subscribing. New content every week, always aiming to be objective and unbiased about all things horology. Thank you again for sticking with me, and as always, I'll catch you guys again next time.